Hello, everybody. This is Dan Stadinovich, and I'm excited and want to welcome you to this podcast. We're going to talk about a topic that everybody is concerned about, and that is how to get found online. And the reason I'm excited is we have an expert and author of the book, Can Your Customers Find You Online? A How-To Guide to Marketing Your Local Business Online. And her name is Charisa Pruitt. She's going to be talking about the topics of, how to be found online. As we know, 2 out of 3 people use Google to find businesses online. It's becoming the yellow pages of the modern age. So what yellow pages were to businesses 20, 30 years ago, this is what the internet's becoming. In this podcast, we're going to learn some of the basics of being able to be found online, and you're going to get a lot of great and valuable information and tips on what you can do, methods of being that you can apply right away, right after this podcast, that you can implement and get real world results. So welcome to the call, Charissa. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Well, I'm super excited because this is the topic that I've been very passionate about, and this is the first time I'm actually interviewing an expert such as yourself on this topic, and I'm excited also for all our listeners that I know that they're going to learn something. So before we get started, would you mind spending a few words and tell us about yourself and how did you, become an expert on this topic?
Where I began with internet marketing was about 5 to 6 years ago. I started doing the internet advertising for my company, which is an auto glass repair and replacement company. We do mobile glass service in the area where I am, which is the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. So that was initially my husband's business, and that's where it started, where I learned, to do the internet marketing strategies that I did. So I was my own best customer to start out with.
Well, we all have to start somewhere, but so some of those experiences that you've applied to your husband's business and, getting him found online, these are the things that you're going to be talking about with us tonight, correct?
Yes.
Excellent. So, okay, why don't you tell us a little bit about if someone has a brand new business, they just started, they're not even listed on the internet, they just got their website. What are some
Right.
of the first things that they can do? Walk us a little bit through that process.
The main thing I always tell people to do when starting with their website is, one, to make sure that your site is optimized on the site first. And what I mean by optimized is making sure that your site contains the proper structure in the background of the site, which you usually see when you say any website that's on the internet. If you click the view source button on any website's screen, you'll see the background of everything, and that's how the site was built. So just to make sure you have the proper structure, your title tags, your meta tags, your keywords. When you had your site built, it's best to have your site built by somebody that has a little bit of internet marketing experience, just because you can make sure it's structured properly from the beginning. You won't have to have your website built where it looks good, but it won't be able to be found on the internet because it doesn't have the proper title tags or the keyword research wasn't done. So I always tell people to make sure everything is done properly on your site before you go spend any money or use any strategies on the internet to try to drive traffic to that site, because you'll waste a lot of money up front.
Well, let's
So,
let's dive into a couple of things that you mentioned, and one of them
okay.
was the keyword research. And I've also noticed that a lot of people don't even know what keyword research is, let alone perform the keyword research. So, would you mind spending a few minutes to explain to our listeners what that is and how it can benefit them?
Sure. What I always tell people is keyword research is the main thing. It's what drives the search engine traffic to your website. So you want the proper keywords. Everybody knows, like when you go to, let's use Google for instance, and when you're looking for a particular product or service that you need, you're typing in certain things to find that product or service. So what ends up happening is a lot of people, they may get attached to their company name, and that's all that they really have on their website that's identifying their website. But no one's going to find your website on the internet that way if they don't know your company name. If somebody is on the internet just looking for your company in particular, say they got a referral or somebody suggested your company to them, then they'll probably find you. But if they're going by what they're looking for, your product or service, then a lot of times people's website is not focused towards that. So there's a lot of keyword tools, most popular Google keyword tool where you can use, and you start where would you look? What keywords would you put in that you would want your website to show up for? So like say my other business, auto glass repair and replacement, we would want to show up, if anybody searched for windshield repair or auto glass repair in our area, which is the Washington, D.C. area, then you would want definitely to show up for auto glass repair in Washington, D.C. So you build your site around those words that you feel like your customers will be looking for you.
So that is an excellent suggestion. So everyone basically needs to kind of step into the shoes of the searcher and try to think as them, and then kind of reverse engineer, and build their website. Now let's assume that their website was built, incorrectly. Can it be fixed?
Yes, your website can always be fixed. I always say the worst type of website to be found on the internet searching to optimize are Flash websites. A lot of people have their websites built with Flash, but they are not necessarily search engine friendly. They look nice, but it's harder to search engine optimize those type of sites. So you can always go back to an internet marketing company or somebody that has internet marketing experience. They can look at your site, give you an analysis. There's a lot of different companies, that offer free analysis on your website, can tell you what's missing, and then they can provide that information to your website designer, and they can go back and put it in for you, or you may be able to get that particular company to do that for you, to make those changes to an existing website.
Okay, that's some excellent advice, and I have to admit, when I got started, I used to love those Flash websites, but it took me about a year to realize that they don't perform very well.
No.
So, yeah. Okay, so let's. I know what a lot of people, they're thinking. Okay, well, I got my website. It's keyword optimized, and I'm ready to go. So, what are some? Obviously, we can't cover everything, but we promised everybody we'll cover a few tips. What are some? Let's start with the cheap and easy tips of getting traffic. Like, what would you recommend?
One of the main cheap and really expensive strategies that I use for internet marketing is Craigslist and Backpage advertising. Most people have heard Craigslist is one of the big classified ad sites on the internet, and you can go there, you can place ads for free. It's geo-specific. It's easy to advertise product, services. It's already indexed for you within the site. But with that being a cheap strategy, Craigslist and Backpage are similar services. If you haven't heard of Backpage, it's a similar site to Craigslist, except for you don't have to refresh your ads as often as you do on Craigslist in certain areas. So one thing I tell people is go on Craigslist. Once you've done your keyword research and you know the keywords that people are searching for your services, you use that information to create Craigslist ads. So you don't use the Craigslist ads to necessarily advertise to the people that are searching on Craigslist. You use your Craigslist and Backpage advertising to rank in the search engines. So I have a lot of people that don't realize, that's what you can do. They just focus on optimizing their ad for the Craigslist site, but you want to optimize that site for the search engines.
Okay, so that's some excellent advice. Would you link the postings on Craigslist and Backpage to a specific landing page, and work the keywords, or how would you do that, to the front page?
I would link it to certain pages. If you have, if you're just trying to drive traffic, say, to your home page, but what you want to do, if you place an ad and you're advertising a particular product or service, you want to make sure that that ad links to that particular product or service. If your site, say your site advertises a couple of your different products and services, and maybe the product you're advertising in the ad is in an internal page, not necessarily the home page, you want to make sure your links go to that page. And I also tell people what catches eyes and stuff like that when using Craigslist ads, go beyond and stand out, be different, use graphic ads
Mm-hmm.
to place your Craigslist ads. You can get graphic ads that are built as and be clickable within Craigslist.
Okay, so
So
that's
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 another
something I've
strategy.
actually never done that. So okay, how would so you would have someone design a graphic ad to really appeal, so somebody would actually click, and then that would go to a landing page. Did I get that correctly?
Right.
Okay.
Right, because when you have Craigslist ads, you think about it, if you just go to Craigslist and you type a regular standard ad, it's just a bunch of text, which is not really eye-catching. It's not appealing to people. Sometimes people use long ads with a lot of text, and people aren't usually going to read through all that information. But if you make it concise, like just like an ad that you would probably run in a newspaper that has all the pertinent information, what you're trying to sell, your contact information, you get that built into a graphic ad. So you use your title text and your keywords, and make sure your keywords in your title text, so then that would draw somebody to say, hey, I'm interested in this information, to click on your ad. Then once they bring it up, the information is clear, it's there, it's professional, and they can also click that particular ad, the graphic, and that'll drive that traffic back to your website.
Okay, so that's actually some great advice. I have to try that because I've actually never used graphic ads, so I really appreciate that tip. I think it's an excellent
Sure.
one. Now, in your book, you talk about press releases, and I know very
Yes.
few people do that. So tell us a little bit about what they are and, how we could use them to get traffic and what other benefits they might have for us.
Okay, when you use press release advertising is another great form of advertising to get ranked on the search engines. Most people are familiar with the standard press releases that you write and you may submit to a publication, a newspaper, offline sources. When you get ready to structure an online press release, the structure is a little different. It's still built around the same keyword research. So you make sure you optimize the title of your press release around the keywords that you've done the research. You want to make sure your keywords are within the press release. The best thing about press releases is it's considered news, so they rank rather quickly, and it provides pertinent information. So a lot of the search engines grab onto press information, and you can also publish press releases on a lot of free sites on the internet. So you can get out one release, put your information out there to a lot of different places fast. It's a good strategy to optimize in your local area. So what I usually suggest to people is they take advantage of a couple of different free press release sites. I have a list in the book also that talks of, gives you a whole listing of different sites that you can put your press releases on to structure your press release for it to be optimized and rank in the search engines.
Would you mind sharing a couple, so our listeners could, go and try this actually, tomorrow?
Right.
Give us a
A
couple
couple of
of,
the main sites, and I use these myself, that I suggest, I love PR Log, which is
okay.
www.prlog.com. And there's also the other one, which is freepressrelease.com, which is you can search it on the search engine, but I believe it's www.free-press-release.com. Those are two great sites. They're totally free. They do have some upgrade services. If you want to pay $1, you may be able to add some additional photos or additional links within the press release, for a little bit of extra money. But even for free, you can still get that done within a free press release. So, but that is definitely one of the strategies that I use often, and I use it for everything. So even within a business, if you're offering a new product or a new service, do a new press release. You can submit a press release as often as you like. So whenever you're doing anything new in your business or you want to put any announcement out about your business, I always do it through press releases.
Well, I have to confess here, when I talked to you, in preparation for this interview, I actually submitted for the first time a press release about this interview, and it got it got accepted and published, and I had a link back to the page, so it really works. Now,
Right, and they'll
one
always be there when you that's the other thing that's great about press releases. Once you put the press release out there, even though it might be old as far as news goes, it will always rank in the search engine. So once you put it out there, it's always out there. So that's creating another backlink for your website, in addition to providing information out there about your company.
I noticed one thing when I did the very first press release about 5 years ago. It got copied over and over again from other sites. Can you tell us a little bit
Exactly.
about that? And is that good or bad for you?
That's good for you. Actually, with some of the press release sites, such as the one I told you about, PR Log, certain sites, they'll give you that benefit where they'll filter it out to more sites if you publish it on their site first. So even though it's a free press release site, they'll say if you're announcing this through our site first, you may get more traffic. They may put it on their front page for you for a longer period of time. It's all type of different incentives they'll give a press release. And also, I always take those press releases and filter them out too. So, like, say you repost them on your Facebook page when you put a press release, or if you're doing a blog, you take that press release and put it on your blog. That gives it more traffic and more drive. So you want it copied over. That's a good thing.
Excellent. Now, the final question about press releases is how do you make something newsworthy? I found that to be fairly difficult, at least for me, because I think the press release sites, they don't want just like a blatant advertisement. So what are some
Right.
advice on how to make it newsworthy?
I say newsworthy, like when I was explaining information as far as what's new in your company. You don't just want to put a blatant press release out there that's advertising. I advise against that. But releases that if you've done something new in your company, that's newsworthy, especially in your local area. You'll notice when you're doing your press releases, it usually asks you for a city and a location. So that's very newsworthy. Sometimes what will end up happening is local papers and stuff like that can pick up an online press release, and that's how they find their information. So you may get picked up by some other medium that you weren't even expecting to get from an online press release, because everybody needs information and pertinent content. So if you're providing good information about your company, you don't want to blatantly just be advertising your company, but if you legitimately have something that's going on that's new in your company, if you've redone and revamped your website, or if you're offering something totally new, you do want to put those type of things out in the press release.
Well, that's some great advice. I definitely need to use that more. And I'm starting to see the benefits of utilizing press release. And I think personally, I don't utilize it enough, but I'm pretty sure everybody listening to this podcast probably is going to take another look at press releases. Now, let's move on. In your book, you talk about article marketing, how to write promotional articles. Tell us a little bit about that and how it can benefit our listeners.
Article marketing provides you with a lot of the same benefits that a well-written press release can. You don't want to take your article marketing and blatantly advertise in article marketing. The search engines and a lot of people are getting way more smarter to, a lot of blatant advertising. So you want to provide good content. So if you have an expertise in a certain topic or a subject, spend your time writing articles about that, where the benefit comes to you. You provide websites and other people, because a lot of people publish blogs, e-zines, newsletters on different information. So if you take an article that's well written and you publish it to, say, ezinearticles.com, I talk about that website. That's one of the best article marketing sites. It's one that I use to publish your articles. A lot of people go there and search for quality content. Now, the benefit that comes back to you is you get the credibility and the credit for writing the article. So there's a line at the bottom where you can, plug your website, plug yourself, plug what you do, and that's where you get the benefit from the article. So you're not really plugging yourself within the article. You provide the good content, and then you'll get the traffic back to you by, people picking up that article. And most of the free article sites, people are allowed to take that content and repurpose that content and use it for themselves and their websites, but they do have to credit that back to you.
So basically,
that's another way to get your information spreading.
Okay. So just to make sure I understand this correctly, if I put an article on Ezine Articles, then any
Right.
webmaster can use that content as long as he, credits me as the writer. and probably puts a
Exactly.
link back to my site, correct?
Right. So they have to copy that article exactly as you've written it. So say in your section about yourself, you put a link back to your website. They have to republish that article with that same information the way that you've written it. That's the only way that they're allowed to take that content and reuse it.
So that's excellent. Now, I'm assuming some of the listeners to the podcast are probably going to say, "Well, I don't have time to write articles." So what would you say to them?
Oh, there's always ways that you can find a way to write good articles. There's services out there where you can, pay to have an article written for you. I believe in taking the time. I like to, know what I'm putting out there specifically, but you can always have somebody write that content for you if you don't have the time to do that, and review that content before you decide to post or put that content out there in your name. But there's a lot of free places where you can get freelancers. There's a lot of like elance.com. There's a lot of freelance websites out there where you can get articles written for you at different levels, at different pricing, if you just would rather pay for somebody to write an article on a specific topic that's related to your business and use it in that way.
Excellent. So you can get basically someone to ghostwrite the article for you, where you would
Exactly.
get the credit. So that's excellent advice. Okay, well, let's move forward. In the book, you talk about Facebook marketing. I know this has been, at least in the last year, it's become pretty big. But a lot of people are confused between, their personal,
Hmm.
personal Facebook place and then their business. Can you
Right.
tell us a little bit how is the right way for a business to advertise themselves on Facebook?
Well, one, the main thing that I cover within the book are there's an area within Facebook that's kind of like the Google search engine where there's paid for Facebook advertising, which you can pay for an ad on Facebook. If anybody on the call uses Facebook, you'll see that when you're on your Facebook page, there's usually ads running to the right side of your Facebook page, and those are ads that are paid for by different people. So in the book, it really goes into how to take advantage of those areas. If you do not want to do Facebook advertising in that way, the difference between a regular profile and a Facebook business page is usually you have to set up a regular Facebook profile before you can create a page. So I always suggest everybody, if you're just starting, do not mix your business page with your personal profile. You don't want people that are just interested in your business information to get all your friend information or look at those topics, or you don't want to bore your friends and your family with your business information. So you always want to keep those separate. But what ended up happening is a lot of people built up their friend network on their personal profiles before they really learned about Facebook pages, and of course pages came out later than regular profiles. So a lot of people, there's a limit on the number of friends that you can have on a regular profile, which is 5,000, and it's unlimited if you have a page. So definitely if you're building a business under a regular profile, you want to immediately move to creating a page and gear that towards your business, and then that way you can separate your personal from your business, because you can send all those people on your personal list a message for them to like your page, and then that way if they're interested in your page information, they can get your page information, and if they're just a personal family or friend, they can stay on the family or friend side.
Now, does the I actually, to be honest, I made one of those mistakes that I had almost 5,000 friends, and I
Right.
actually dropped my whole Facebook and started all over again, and now I'm going to separate the business from the friends because I found it pretty time consuming. But let me ask you
Right.
this: on the fan page for your business,
Mhm.
what are some of the things that we should worry about so we can do it right? And is there any search engine benefit? And how can we set it up correctly?
Okay, you have the same search engine benefit. When you're going around the internet, as you can see, probably listen to me talk. I always speak keyword, keyword, keyword. So when you're looking to title your Facebook page, you want to have your personal information because people are on Facebook as, to socialize. It's still a social site. You can conduct business on the site, but it's built around social aspects. So I always tell people, if you're not going to socialize on Facebook just because, it's a thing to do right now, but if you don't have any time to interact with people or to try and build any type of relationships with the people that follow you, then there's really no benefit to you having a Facebook page. I recently myself, I do so much other type of internet marketing. I just really got into interacting with my Facebook page on a certain level. So if you don't have the time, it's really not going to be any additional benefit to you. So it's not going to be like a win-lose situation. Oh, I have to be on Facebook because that's what everybody's doing. If you're not going to, socialize, even on the business side, then it's not even, don't do it. So you think about your keywords when you're picking a name for your Facebook page, because that will also help you rank in the search engines because it is social. Google, even though, Google and Facebook are competitors, Google ranks Facebook pages for information, especially on businesses. If you have a business and you search yourself and you do have a Facebook page, you'll find that your Facebook page ranks pretty well under your company name for your business. So you want to make sure if you do take the time to set it up, take the time to interact on it.
So let me, I want to recap this and make sure I understand it correctly. What you're suggesting is to have the page keyword driven, and then this way in the search engine, if someone is searching for, let's say real estate agent Tampa, that page would actually show up, even if someone doesn't know exactly who the real estate agent is.
Right.
That's an excellent.
So like with mine, if anybody, visits my website or ends up going onto my Facebook page, you'll see that I have a combination. I do have my name with my company name on my Facebook page, but it's also a keyword that's good for my company on my title also. So you can always put your company name and the keyword, or it's good. I always tell people too, if your keyword happens to be in your website address, that's something else that's good. So yes, the information and, when you select a name for your Facebook page, think about your keywords that you're wanting people to find you online for.
Well, I'm starting to see a theme in this interview. It's keywords.
Keyword research.
Yeah. Okay, let's move forward. In your book, you talk about how to implement a list to your website. What do you mean by that, and how does it benefit us?
Okay, implementing a list to your website is just basically like, say if you have a particular product or service that you're offering. I say this almost for any product or service. A lot of people, they just put a box on their main page of their website and say, hey, join our newsletter, or it's not really, get on our email list. People have to know why, or you have to give them some incentive to want to be on your list. Because usually, even though it's internet marketing, if you get somebody to your site, a lot of times people are not going to buy from the first time they come to your site. So usually it's just another way of you being able to connect with your customers, or if somebody had an interest in your product or service, went to your site, you give them something that gives them enough incentive, to opt into your list. You provide them with good information. It's a better way of them, getting to know you, getting more information about your product or service, or if they are not necessarily sure they wanted to buy from you straight off, then that's something, it'll help you keep a connection with those people that have come across or visited your website. It's usually going to take, how they always say it takes about six touches to a person to gain them as a client. So it's another way, if somebody came across you and they're interested, to stay in touch with those people.
That's some great advice. Now, for building the list, do you mind sharing some tools or something for new people who don't actually have a list that you...
Right. So what I suggest, what you do is you think of something that is within your business that people would want and that you're willing to share or provide to them, those people. So say if somebody goes to your website and you say, hey, get a 10% off coupon for this product or service, or get $100 off this product or service, something that you feel like is of value to somebody that may be interested in your service, That's how you use different strategies to build your list. You take that same information and whatever forms of media that you're using on the internet, so say you're on Facebook, or if you use LinkedIn or anything else that you are interacting with your customers or you can reach customers on, you take that same information, you pass it around through those different media. So you offer that same thing, whatever you feel like, is something that's valuable, of value that you think your customers may find of value, and you use that to get them to opt into your list. Excuse me. So once they get on your list, that's how you build additional customers, build your list that way. So I always say it has to be, I would just say, something of value, something that is they'll want to use.
So that's some great advice. And I noticed that the vast majority of websites actually do not have an opportunity to get on your list. And sometimes I actually want to get on their list to be notified. And
right.
Why do you think that is the case?
I think because the way that people are so leery about getting out their personal information, people look at, now they're giving out their email address is very valuable now because, there's so much spam and there's so much unwanted information that you get in your email. I look at it as, so people don't really know how to do it. Like I was saying, they might just say, oh, well, join our newsletter or give us your email, but not really giving anybody any incentive to say, why would I want to give you my email? Because people look at that's personal information. So, you want to provide them with a reason and something of quality to provide you with that information. So I just think that a lot of people don't know what to offer and how to do it. So that's probably why you don't see it so much.
That's excellent. Now, you opened up another subject that's covered in your book, which is spam issues. And I know it's not directly related to traffic. However, I tend to agree with you. I think the list is one of the best traffic sources by far. So tell us a little bit about spam issues, in email marketing.
Email marketing, what you want to do, there's a few different, if you do what's called an autoresponder, and that's the way I suggest anybody build a list because that's going to keep you, it's kind of in compliance, but where you don't have a lot of people reporting and saying that you're spamming them because you're only submitting information to people that have, opted into your list that said they want that information from you. So it's kind of like what I do on my website. If anybody wants to get an example of what I do is I make you an offer. If you want to accept the offer, you have to opt into the list. And then once you opt into the list, you'll get another email confirming that you wanted to opt into the list. So it's like a double opt-in where I'm making sure that you want to receive information from me before I start providing information to you. And I think that way, if you, take those steps, then you won't have a lot of people saying, you're spamming me, you're sending me unwanted information. You don't want to have that type of reputation.
So that's excellent. Yeah, I can relate to that because when I started, I actually had a death threat about 5-6 years ago, and I totally agree now. Like, don't send email to anybody who actually doesn't want it.
Exactly. And it's not doing anything to help you. I mean, people, what will end up happening, they might meet somebody at a different type of event, or you might be networking with somebody one day, and they'll take that information, and they'll automatically add you to their list. I think you should find out if those people are interested in the information you're providing before you just say, okay, I'm going to take your email and add you to my list. I don't think, that's the proper way to do it. And that's not going to build your list any faster because what's going to happen is those people are going to opt out anyway.
Yeah, so that's true, because at the bottom they have that little link that they can click on.
Mm-hmm. And you want to make sure, most definitely, if you are emailing people that way and, buying lists or doing email marketing that fashion, you want to make sure that you are adding that link to unsubscribe at the bottom of any email that you send to anyone. Even when you have them opt into your list, you still want to provide that to them so they can stop information from you whenever they want to.
Okay, so that's some excellent advice. Now let's move on another traffic source that I think is the future, and one of the reasons I'm starting to see more and more TVs with YouTube devices. I have YouTube on my cell phone. I have YouTube on my tablet, And I think they're going to have these television sets now that basically, I think every new TV is going to have this. I'm starting to see YouTube as like an incredible source of traffic. Now, you covered it in your
Right.
book. So tell us a little bit about, how to grab attention on YouTube. What is the right things to do? And I know still a lot of entrepreneurs are not utilizing it. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
super excited about YouTube. So anything you can share, I think it's going to be fantastic.
YouTube actually and other video marketing sites. YouTube is the main one, and that's the main one a lot of people know. But there are a whole lot of other video marketing sites out there that you can take advantage of just as well as YouTube. I use a few of them in combination when I do video marketing. But what YouTube can do for you, a lot of people just randomly post videos to YouTube, whereas you can take YouTube and there again have that video rank on the search engine. So if you notice, videos, when they're on the search engine, your eye is immediately drawn to them because you have the little screenshot that's in a whole field of text. So that's another reason why, you want to take advantage of video because it's something that, rank on the search engine well. There again, if you put in the proper keywords in your titles and you use the tags the way you should, it'll rank in your proper keywords where people will be searching for your product or service. People think it's expensive, that you have to do a serious production to do a great video for your business, but you don't. They have those flip cams now. You can even do video using your Android phone or your iPhone and make short videos, have customers do testimonials. I've used it that way. I've even done short commercials, self-produced, save money, and upload those to YouTube. Whereas they'll rank in the search engines. We get a lot of traffic from YouTube for our glass business. I have those probably about 2 or 3 different type of semi-commercials running right now. I don't know if there's a way that I was going to tell you might be able to show some people, but we have videos that rank, and they're getting like 10,000, 12,000 views, and, we have customers that, since it's my husband's business, tell them all the time, oh, I saw you in your video, and, we get a lot of customers when it's done properly. So
Well,
don't worry about it
tell us.
necessarily being so professional.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's the first point, and actually, I have done probably 200 videos myself, and I actually noticed that some of the ugliest videos have done really well, and I think it comes back to those keywords. Tell us a little
Exactly.
bit about what got you those videos to have like 10,000 views. Like, what are some of the things that you did that you think caused those videos to get you traffic where others, that, for example, didn't?
I think those videos, because people like to see now, if you know how to do something, people search YouTube for how-to type videos. So I noticed we have a regular one where we're just announcing the company, saying what we do. That one's done pretty well. It's been out there for a while. But the other one that seemed to get a lot of traffic was when I filmed my husband, which is a technician, doing a full window installation.
So it's like how to
So a
do a
lot of
window
people,
installation is like a video that
hmm
people want to search on.
right, and so they like to know, even if they don't use us, even from other areas. I noticed that video gets a lot of hits from other states, that we don't service, but, people want to know information, so they'll want to know, hey, if I have a glass man come out and they do certain things, they want to know how it gets done. So they watch his video, see how he does it, and then we he's actually told me he's had somebody watch him do it. They said, oh, I learned, yeah, this is what you're going to do next, and you're going to do this next, because they watched him do it on the video. So people like to learn how to do something or how
That's
to
actually an
subject.
excellent tip. I actually going to write that down because I'm starting to suspect that some videos doing better, and now you're confirming that basically people want to learn something, and you're.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example. My brother-in-law, he wanted to learn how to make a solar panel, and he went straight to YouTube, not even Google, and typed in,
Right.
how to. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's an excellent advice for everybody listening to this podcast: is figure out what your customers want to learn how to and make a video. So thank you for sharing that.
Right.
Now the next
And
question.
they have
Mhm.
certain websites too, outside of just YouTube, that are specific, they take how-to videos. So you get traffic from those websites for those particular things too. It's all built around how-to videos.
Okay, so that's excellent. So could you mind sharing the name of one or two of those?
That website,
I,
look
I
on, you may have to search that on the internet because I'm not exactly sure of the how-to website. I'm
I think one is
thinking it's not coming to mind.
ehow.com. Ehow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
search on Google and put in how-to video website,
Okay.
and you should be able to. It should come up that way.
Okay,
If
that's actually an
anybody puts
excellent tip. So that could be a potential source of traffic for us. Now,
Mhm.
the question I think some people might be struggling with is, let's say their video does get, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 views. How do we actually get the traffic from the YouTube video or some other video site to our website?
So what you want to do is definitely, if you're trying to have your customers, if you're just trying to get a call, so it's all out of what you want the customer to do from watching your video. If you want them to pick up the phone and call you, you make sure you include your phone number, your contact information at the beginning, the end of the video. If you want them to visit your website, make sure you put your website prominently within the video. What YouTube allows you to do now is they have a description area that's under the video where you can insert links into that. But for them to be active links, you make sure you put the HTTP / in front of your www. Otherwise, when you put a link within the description area, it will not be an active link. So make sure you put your HTTP in front of that. And then that way you can have an active link that shows up right up under the video while it's playing. I always structure my videos when I post them. If I want them to visit a website, I always list a website first and then any description information. So then that way, whenever your video comes up, the link will automatically be there first.
Well, that's some great advice. I definitely I'm the most excited for traffic is videos. I just love making them
Yes,
and
because videos are
yeah.
really popular, and people like to watch things. People aren't so much, a lot of people are visual people, and they like to watch and learn, so not necessarily always want to read. So that's just another way to engage people.
Okay, so let's move on now. In the big book, you talk about, how to write your own blog. Why do you think people should have a blog besides their website, and what is the difference? And tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, sometimes now you may have noticed that some people's websites, as you search the internet more, is actually built on a blog. So when you look at WordPress, there's a lot of WordPress sites that are actually blogs. So, some people listening may have sites that are actually a WordPress blog. Blogs are actually known for ranking well on the internet too, through the search engines. So I always tell people, if you don't necessarily have a blog on your site, I always link a blog to your site. It's just another way for you to build backlinks to your site, provide good information for the search engine. So you use that the same way you use article marketing. Provide good content on it. People will pick up that information. They can share it with their friends because you can provide Facebook links, LinkedIn links. So it's definitely another way to provide good content for the internet. I always look at everything that you do on the internet is where you're trying to provide good information and provide good content. If you provide good information and good content, then it'll rank well on the search engine. So as long as your website itself or any blog is not blatantly advertising, it's not looking spammy to the search engines, they're pretty sophisticated, you'll gain more presence on the internet. So everything that I do and that I suggest people around marketing in any form on the internet is about, building good content, which will increase your backlinks to your website. That's what helps rank your website on the internet also. It's all the backlinks. So all the things that I've been talking about that I'd use as different internet marketing strategies, I use all those things in combination to build quality backlinks to my website from different areas around the internet. And that in turn will boost your website on the search engines.
Okay, so that's some excellent advice. I also noticed that the blogs tend to rank better for some reason, and I guess
Right.
it's just the Google algorithm. But what about,
Right. And if you provide, you keep it. That's the other thing. You want to make sure you're posting to your blogs regularly. I post to my blog once a week, so you want to make sure, because what it is blogs, people can update that quickly. It's easy to maintain, and then Google searches a lot of blogs fast because they feel like that's up-to-date information on blogs.
Okay, so that was gonna be my next question is how often. What about for the people who think they're busy and they can't post? Like, what would you suggest?
What I would suggest is you can always pre-plan, post ahead of time. So say what I do sometimes, because I'm busy also, I will take maybe a Sunday evening, and I'll sit down, and you may be able to say, hey, okay, I want to write on this particular topic. You can pick a topic, and you may think of your blog posts don't have to be really long. I always say 300 words kind of is the minimum. 500 words is fine. You can even do short blog posts for just information. If you just want to put something out there really fast, it doesn't even have to stay to those standards. But what you can do is you can take one evening in a couple-hour block, write a few posts all at one time, and then schedule those. Most of the blogs have it where you can schedule those. They don't have to be posted immediately when you write it. You can schedule it a time, then you can schedule the next one to go out that next week, and then you can schedule it really far in advance. So you can spend one day, one afternoon, one evening that you have time, and maybe write blog posts for 5 weeks.
Wow. I have to do that. I have to admit, I've never ever scheduled a blog post. I just,
And
but
I've
that
done
makes
that, do it
sense.
all the time. So then you can take one day and write a blog for a month.
Yeah, that's excellent. Okay, let's move on to the next traffic source, Twitter. And I actually read today they kicked off a couple of days ago a actor, I think it was Alan Baldwin, off a plane, and he immediately Twittered on, and I watch TV. They always quote all these Twitter feeds. So
Hmm.
why is Twitter important? Can it benefit us in traffic, and how do we use it? I guess as entrepreneurs.
I look at Twitter kind of in the same medium as Facebook. A lot of people have been telling me lately that I've talked to that they don't really either do Twitter or Facebook because it's kind of hard to have time for both of them. But what Twitter does is it gives people an opportunity to interact with you right then, right there. It's immediate interaction. So, and get interaction with people that they wouldn't be able to have interaction with otherwise. The same type of benefits that Facebook does, but Twitter is just a different medium to do that on. So you can also use Twitter same way that you would use your Facebook. You post different things. You want to spend some time. You don't want to sit there and spam people on Twitter either.
Well,
I
that's what
mean,
I
all the
noticed
mediums,
most people do,
right?
actually.
All the mediums we've talked about, it's easily to get into the spamming people on Twitter, but there again, nobody's going to pay attention to it, so it's really no purpose of doing that. But what
How often do you think? And I have to admit, I actually kind of neglected my Twitter account. How often do you
you,
think someone should tweet so it stays in the search engine?
You that's about the same amount of time that I tell people blog, and try to tweet it like at least a couple of times, a week at the minimum. I mean, if you have pertinent information or you have something timely that you want to talk about, you can tweet that then. Um, I myself, I don't do a lot of the interactive twittering where I'm talking back and forth, direct messaging and all that with people. I use my Twitter. I kind of repurpose my information. What I do, and I want to say this, which can be really time saving for a lot of people. I repurpose any information that I use. I repurpose it everywhere. So like we were saying, if you build a list and you say, okay, I'm going to offer these people an e-zine or a newsletter once a week, I take some content. I might write something one time, and I'll repurpose that content, across all forms of medium that I'm using on the internet. So I might write the newsletter once that week. I'll take that newsletter and repost it as a blog post. I'll take that blog post, repost it to my Facebook page, and then I'll tweet the same thing. And then I also use LinkedIn, so I'll repost it there too. So then that way you're taking that one form of content that you took, some of your time to write, and you can update all your information with that.
So you're getting the most out of the same amount of work, basically. That's an excellent,
Exactly.
yeah, that's an excellent suggestion. That's excellent. I like that a lot. I think we'll move into the last method because obviously we can only cover so much in an hour. Is you have pay-per-click, and I know a lot of people have lost their shirt on that. And I actually know of one of my friends. I think he lost about 5,000 over the weekend, or 500. I forgot some big number on his credit card on his pay-per-click account.
He didn't put a cap on that.
He didn't put a cap. That was the first time he did it. I know. So tell me a little bit about, when should you start first? Should a beginner utilize that, or is that when you advance later in, how do you use pay-per-click?
Pay-per-click is the advantage of pay-per-click. What I tell people is I use all the other forms of advertising online that I do to kind of stay away from pay-per-click. But I do use pay-per-click when I'm trying to get some information out there quickly. If I'm trying to advertise a particular product or service and I want some immediate traffic, or if I'm testing something and I want some immediate traffic, then sometimes I use pay-per-click advertising just to test certain things, or if I want to get some additional traffic to something. So a beginner can use it, but like we said, it's easy for a beginner to lose a lot of money using pay-per-click. So it's not something that you want to go into, not knowing necessarily what you're doing. Like you were saying, in the book I have some things about some effective pay-per-click advertising, and that's saying where if you are a beginner and you are on a certain budget, how to go in there and put certain things as far as putting caps on your budget, how much you should pay per click, things like that, to give you a little bit of knowledge so you won't necessarily be a newbie trying to do it. But it's something that you can lose a lot of money with quickly, and I say,
Why don't we share, if you don't mind sharing, one maybe technique for a beginner, just so someone can try it out. I guess I heard you say put a cap, so that's one. What else could they do?
So what else you can do is you can set up a small pay-per-click campaign. This is pretty easy. Google has, the thing about Google, which is really good, is that they provide so much free information on any product or service that they have out there that they offer. So they have some really good training on using Google AdWords on their website. So I suggest anybody, go to Google AdWords and make sure they read that information first. But you can put a pay-per-click ad up pretty easily.
So you're a fan of Google AdWords. Do you utilize any other pay-per-click companies?
Well, recently I was using Bing and Bing was MSN, and they combine their pay-per-click advertising forces with Bing and Yahoo. They've gotten together, so it's one advertising platform. So I have used them also. Google AdWords, people are just on Google because they get the most search traffic. But if you want to look at the Bing Yahoo combination pay-per-click advertising, they offer pay-per-click too, and their clicks are usually cheaper than Google clicks. That's just because it's going off of your traffic base, and then it could be depending on whatever product or service you're trying to offer. I believe there's another site that I've used that's like pay-per-click. I think it's leadimpact.com.
Okay.
Hopefully I'm saying that right.
Yeah, leadimpact.com.
They're pretty good also. I've used them before. They have really inexpensive clicks. And you can generate, if you do the, of course, right keyword research, you can generate a good amount of traffic from them also.
That's excellent. And I appreciate you mentioning Bing and Yahoo. I just opened an account with them recently, and I've heard a couple of other people mention them, so I'm going to try that out. So I appreciate you bringing that one up. So I want to first thank you for giving information. And before I open it up for questions, I want to give you an opportunity for someone who wants to learn more about you and your services. Do you mind sharing, your website, or how can they learn more about yourself?
Sure. Anybody can reach me. I provide website design services and internet marketing services. My website is www.seoallianceteam.com. So that's S as in Sam, E-O, and then allianceteam.com. And anybody can reach me through there. If they want to contact me or they have any more questions for me that they want to know something about that I've talked about, they can email me through that website. And also they can check out how I structured, my opt-in list and things like that. And definitely, feel free to opt in if you feel like that information could be good for you.
Excellent. I see you actually, I just brought up your website. You have the opt-in right on the first page. I guess you do what you teach, so that's excellent. Would you mind sharing one more tip? Something that maybe you think is going to be in the future, something that's brand new, some idea that we haven't tried. I always like to ask that.
I also tell people that another form of advertising, because mobile marketing is something big that's going on right now. More people are getting into mobile marketing, that there's different strategies and different ways to do mobile marketing. I've had a lot of people approach me about that, and they think it's something that's too expensive for a smaller business, but it's very affordable, and you can use that in different ways also. It's a way to immediately get in touch with customers. If you have a restaurant or you have a particular service or something like that you need to track appointments, you can use it in way more than one way. So that's just not about where people think, again, that's something that you can just spam people through their mobile phones, but there's also ways that you can utilize that form of advertising.
Yeah, I've actually heard that before, and I have never used it. So you think like our iPhones and our Droid phones, that's going to be the future where people are actually going to be searching? Is that how you feel about it?
Yes, that's because, I do it now. I use especially when you're away from your home, you use your iPad, you use your iPhone or your Android phone, because now, I find myself searching the internet more through my phone a lot of times, even when I'm in the house. Then I necessarily want to get up and get in front of my computer. So it's definitely, and then as far as with the text marketing, so many people text now, so it's something that is way, has a way higher conversion rate than even email marketing, because, with email marketing, people, you might get a certain percentage, maybe 2 to 10% that'll open your email and get your message, whereas, everybody, it's like up to 95% chance that somebody's going to open a text message that you send them through their phone.
Yeah, that's true. I to be honest with you, I found the easiest way to clear out my emails is on the phone, because I can do it like literally 3 times quicker. But then what happens is I click on those links and I take a quick look at all the websites literally on my little iPhone, and I've been doing it daily now. So we should, I guess, we should really consider that and optimize our sites, make sure they show up on the phone.
Right, and there's, now there's where you can get mobile sites built for you, so they're not going to be on the same structure as your website may be on the internet, and that's so when people go to your website through their phone, it'll be optimized for that, so they'll be able to read your information. Mobile websites are way more simpler and be able to provide people with your, contact information quickly, maybe click by phone through your mobile site, so it's definitely another way to reach customers.
Well, excellent training. I just got the first question from one of our listeners. It says, great podcast. Still, I don't know what backlinks are and how they work. Okay, would you mind telling us a little more? What are backlinks and why are they important even?
Okay, so when I say backlinks, it's that, if you go to another website, so it's a website that's off of your website that clicks back to either a page within your website or your home page on your website. So that's considered a backlink. So it's any website that's around the internet that's not on your site that has a link back to your site. So that's why it's called a backlink. So it's and what ends up happening is Google looks at websites that have a lot of other websites, that they feel are quality websites that are pointing back to a particular site for a particular information. So say if you're a site and you have 100 people or 100 other sites linking back to your site for a particular topic, that Google feels like, hey, this person's site must be providing good information because all these other sites are linking back to their site. So therefore, you'll rank higher on the search engine because they'll say, hey, this person is providing obviously quality information. Otherwise, all these other sites wouldn't be linked to them.
Okay, so to make sure that I understand this correctly, let's say, for example, two websites are identical. The only difference is one website has a link from, let's say, a USA Today, and the other one has no links back.
Right.
Then this website that has a link from USA Today would be ranked better. Did I get it correctly?
Yes, exactly. Because Google knows that USA Today provides quality information. So if you have a backlink to your site from USA Today, they say, hey, this person must be providing better information than that other site. Because they have nobody.
So we should be concerned about getting good backlinks. I'll tell you how I got the education on the backlinks. I had a website that had, I think it was like PR4, which is for the listeners is page rank. And one of the speakers said, I will speak at your seminar, but if you put a backlink to my page. And I was like, I had to wonder, I was driving home, why would he want that?
That's why.
And okay, so what are some of the things that our listeners could do to get backlinks? Do you have any tips?
Well, what you can do is you can, like we were saying, all those forms of media that you can do as far as video marketing on other sites, putting press releases out there on other sites, on your Facebook website, even, if you have a Google Places page, which is the local listings on Google, any type of website or locally that you put your information on, if you can include a link to your site, make sure you include your link to your site because all that counts. So every link that if you make a comment on a blog post, so say if you're reading another blog and somebody, you make a comment on that other person's blog, if they have an opportunity where it says, hey, you can enter your website, if you do those type things, make sure you put your website in because that'll build backlinks to your website also.
So you actually think the blog commenting with the link back to your site actually has value?
Yes, they do have value. So
That's
especially,
excellent.
like you were saying, say if there is, say, let's use USA Today since you use that. Say USA Today has a blog, and they're talking about a particular topic. USA Today's blog, like you were saying, their page rank will be high because Google feels like that's a quality site. So if they're talking about a particular subject and they have on there, hey, you can comment on this post or comment on this article, comment on it. And if you have, don't just make a spam comment, but, if you have a legitimate comment or something worthy and they give you the opportunity to provide a link back to your website if you have one, then, do those type things. You'll, build quality backlinks quickly doing that.
Okay, well, that's excellent. And so far, looks like we answered all the questions. So I appreciate that. And if you don't mind, let's just end with give us one more time your information and anything else, any final thoughts, maybe what someone who's brand new at this could do to get traffic, and we'll finish with that. And I want to thank you for taking the time. I actually got some really valuable information myself. I'm sure the listeners did too. And I want to thank you, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate everybody taking the time to be on the call with us. I think definitely if you're somebody that wants to learn more information about internet marketing, although even though my book says for local small businesses, it's geared towards businesses, that are trying to reach customers in their local area, that same information can be used to market, nationally, not just in your local area. So if that's something that you want to learn more information about, definitely pick up the book. It's available on Amazon.com. If you go to www.seoallianceteam.com, there's a link to it on my homepage, which makes it simple. But you definitely get high-quality information from that, and it is a true how-to. So if you want to learn something, that we discussed today, it does take you step by step through that information. So it's not something that'll just blow you past, and it says this is what you can do, which a lot of books say, hey, this is what you can do, but don't necessarily tell you how to do it. This is a true how-to. So definitely take advantage of that if that's something that you're interested in. And at the least, it'll give you an idea and some information to have more knowledge when you approach somebody else about providing those services to you. You'll have some information as far as that goes. So But thank you, Dan, for having me. I enjoyed it. So I
Well,
appreciate it.
thank you, Charissa, and thank you everybody who's been live on this call, and everybody who's downloaded the podcast and listened to it. I appreciate it. I love doing these interviews because I always learn. I've never done one where I didn't learn something, and I learned.
Learn anything.
Yeah, yeah, and I learned
Yeah,
2, 3 great things
great.
today. So I really appreciate it, Charissa. Thank you so much, and I look forward to maybe next year or the year after we'll do another interview, update everything.
Thank you.
Okay, you take care.
You too.
All right, bye bye.